Are you planning on going on a family vacation to a national park this summer? If so, with the reduction in staffing and services, you better make a backup plan. Because I'm going to tell you, the best made plans that you make are going to go boof up in smoke. And you better have a backup plan or you're going to be stranded and you'll be scrambling for things to do. For example, park entrances that have gates, the booths aren't going to be staffed. They're not going to have as many people in the booths taking your money, taking your park permits. You know, the person that greets you in the park, hands you the map, allows you to come in. They're going to reduce those people. So that means longer lines to get into a park. Longer lines means it's going to take longer for you and your family to get into that park. If you think lines were long in the past, they're going to be a lot longer this summer. The visitor centers, the visitor centers where you go and you buy the trinkets and you talk to the rangers and the junior ranger ceremonies are held. Reduction in staff. You're not going to have as many rangers there. It may be a self-serve. There may be only one person working the visitor center instead of 3 or 4 like normal. So therefore, you're not going to be able to talk to the rangers about what's the best hike to go. Do you need to go on a difficult hike? Do you need to go on an easier hike? Do you need to go on a scenic hike? What parks are closed? And normally, as I do when I've been with my family, I give the park ranger who we are, how many we are, and where we're going. So if we don't get back in time where the park closes and my car's parked out there, they know that Chuck and his family went down this hike and they're not here and they come looking for us. Those services are going to be far and few between. Bryce, I'll give you an example. Here's an example of some of the things that I've found. Bryce Canyon, they have a reduction in staff, so they're not going to have the capacity of services that they've had in the past. Tours and infrastructure maintenance are going to be limited, and some of the infrastructure maintenance is not going to get done. They're not going to have the manpower or the budget for it. Arches National Park in Moab, Utah, they've closed the fiery furnace area to all hikes, guided or not guided. They just do not have the resources and the staff members to support that area. It's easy to get lost. And also in that area, they're also expecting more trail closures just due to the lack of people working. They've laid off over 2,500 people in the National Park Service. And that doesn't count the seasonal workers or the probational workers. So who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to be available this summer? At Whiskey Town National Recreation Park in California, they're already cutting back on services. They've already announced that trails will be closed. There will not be any guided tours, and the visitor center is going to be on reduced hours. There you go. More reductions, more services not being offered. At Glacier National Park, a lot of the personnel are complaining that the quality of service and the things that they're not going to be able to provide that they've been able to provide in the future. It's just a reduction in service. It's a reduction in teaching, in knowledge, in visiting with the park ranger about what's the best hike to go on, what's the best places to get pictures. At Glen Canyon and Lake Mead, where boating is the big tourist thing there, you get in the boat or you get in a motorboat, and you go around and see all the sightseeings by boat. Guess what? Your boat has to be inspected before you put it in the water. Well, they're not going to have as many rangers there inspecting your boats. So fewer boat inspectors, you know what that means? Longer lines. You know what longer lines mean? Longer wait time. I'm telling you, you just got to be prepared for these things. These are the ones that have been reported. These aren't the little ones at the little national parks. These are the big ones. And with the plans to terminate 30 leases of national park buildings around the United States, who knows what's going to happen? We know that museums, visitor centers, and law enforcement centers are on the targeted list, but we don't know what's not going to be around. So we don't know when they're going to close them and cancel the lease and vacate the properties. Time will tell. So I'm going to read this one to you. This is from an email that was sent to some of the staff members at one of the parks, and it's about who's going to clean the toilets. This email specifies that 5 divisions: interpretation and education, resource management, science, information technology, commercial services, and safety. They will have cleanup responsibilities for campground restroom facilities. In a training session, the employees learned what protective equipment they must need to clean the rooms and about health risks and along is standard toilet cleaning procedure. Seriously, you go to school, you get a master's degree or you get a PhD, you go to work for the Park Service as a scientist or an ecologist or whatever, and now you got to go clean the toilets. Come on, we're not going there. So, just to back it up, we know that the restrooms have always been a problem in the past, where they've mostly been dirty, but sometimes been closed because they're too dirty. Expect more of it this year. If you were frustrated in the past with closed restrooms or dirty restrooms, it's going to be a lot worse this year. Just telling you, just the way it is. Trail upkeep. We know from reports that the infrastructure or trails aren't going to be kept up like they have in the past. They just don't have the manpower or the resources or the money to do it. And so it's going to be much easier for them to close a trail. Just close it. We're not going to fix it. We're not going to fix that erosion and get that path back opened up. We're not going to fix that fence that fell down. We're not going to fix those guide ropes that fell down. We're just going to close the trail. So be prepared for trail closings. And fewer staff members mean that they're not going to be able to take care of the operational piece of the parks. That includes infrastructure, invasive species removal. With the lack of staff, we have the risk of permanent damage to natural resources and historical assets that they've always been managed by the parks in the past. We always kind of thought vandalism was a little on the high side in the past. It's going to be a lot worse this summer because there's nobody going to be on site to stop those things from happening. The bottom line is, with over 2,500 people let go and more layoffs to come, and who knows what's going to happen with the buyouts they're still talking about. They keep extending those. You better pack your patience and be kind to the staff and the park rangers and be kind to other visitors who are frustrated. Because the bottom line is, when you show up to a visitor center and it's closed, you better have a plan B. Because a lot of times you get out there and the cell system, your phone service isn't working, so you can't get online and see what's available. So if they're closed, you better have plan B, like I said earlier. Just plan B, or you're going to be stuck scrambling with something to do with your kids. And if your kids aren't happy, mama's not happy, and your life's not happy. So plan ahead and make a backup plan. Make sure you check the website the day before you go. Make sure the park's open, the visitor center's open, the trails are open, the guided tours are open, wherever you're planning on or whatever you bought passes for, make sure they're going to be available that day. It just makes life a lot more simpler. Many jobs have just plain been eliminated by the federal government and the National Park Service. Unlike corporate America, where they will post a job and they just won't or don't fill it on purpose, they keep the job rack open. In this case, the federal government has just gone. There are no job openings. There's no job racks. They're just letting people go. So who knows what services will be impacted come middle of the season or into the season. By fall, who knows how many people are going to be around. I mean, I'm going to make the assumption that you could have overworked park personnel and there's going to be a voluntary reduction because people aren't going to put up with it and they're going to go find jobs elsewhere. And who knows, the way the budget cuts are going, who knows who's going to be on staff. How very sad it has become that the budget cuts are impacting the National Park Service the way it sounds like they're going to and the way they're predicting it will. Just how very sad. Hey, thanks for watching. From Chuck and Carrie. Until we meet around the campfire, y'all take care now. Bye-bye.